So I went out and I picked up a Swiss Army knife. And I'm going to need to get my Victorian Swiss Army knife. Now, this one here is a true Victorian Swiss Army knife. See the logo? There's another way you can tell if it's a true Victorian Swiss Army knife. When you go and open these, there's a certain amount of clicking. And they're a lot stiffer. Okay? And that's the biggest thing about it. And I can feel that stop there. It's really stiff and it's got a good click to it. And I'm not sure you can hear that. Let me put it closer to the microphone. You hear that noise? So you end up with that clicking sound is what you end up with it. And that's a true Victorian Swiss Army knife. Now, this one is a knockoff. And they stated that before I bought it. I bought it off eBay. I paid $6. And that's what's shipping to get it here. And so why would I buy something like this? I mean, if you know it's a knockoff. I was kind of curious. Do they have, the same type of workmanship? And this thing has to be cleaned and oiled. It's filthy. But some of it, there's no clicking. But it is pretty stiff. And this thing looks like it's even bent a little bit. So let me pull up. And this one's the knife, as you can see. There's no clicking whatsoever. It just kind of pops into place. It says stainless china on it. Let's see if we can see that. Right there. Stainless china is what that says. There's no warranty. No nothing with it whatsoever. But it does have a saw. It does have a blade. See, that doesn't even really click. This one's stiff. So I don't know. It's definitely not as good as a Victorian. Definitely. Now it does have the tweezers. And they're pretty filthy too. And it's got a toothpick. I think it's not really a regular toothpick. Like when I compare that toothpick to the Victorian, I mean, look at the difference. Unless this person sanded it down, I don't know. But it's a whole lot smaller. Now you can get Victorian Swiss Army knives on eBay for $6 all day long, by the way. There's no reason to buy a knockoff. That's for sure. And it's funny how the Chinese try to imitate that without breaking laws, right? Because if you look, I mean, there's a big difference between Victorian stamp compared to a China stamp, right? And I did read online that a big problem, Victorian said, is China making a lot of mock-ups off their idea. This thing moves. Look at that. I don't know why that's moving. See that? Or if we look at the Victorian, that thing is solid. It ain't going nowhere. So, should you buy a knockoff Swiss Army knife compared to a Victorian? The answer to that's no. I can tell just from looking at that corkscrew. It's not made not made very well. This thing seems to be a lot thinner than the one on the Victorian. You have to understand, with a Victorian Swiss Army knife, you have a pretty amazing guarantee. You have an amazing guarantee from workmanship. 20 years later, you could mail this knife in, and they'll fix it for a very minimal cost. I mean, I've seen people in the forums say the knife came back brand new and cost them a whole $5. And sometimes they don't even charge them anything. So Victoria Swiss Army knife is amazing when it comes to having, a Swiss Army knife. When you buy one, you're going to have it for life. And that's the thing. It does have a heck of a guarantee to it. And they do take care of it. But there's a lot of things on this. Like you can see how that looks. It's all deteriorated. So why pick up this? Well, I want to take it apart. And I didn't want to mess up a Swiss Army knife. So I want to take the scales off. And I want to take it apart in pieces and take a look at it. Because sooner or later, one of these days, I'm going to want to mod a Swiss Army knife the way I want. And I may even substitute some of the tools. Like a better blade, for example, to who knows what else I'm going to put on it. But I figured I'd get some practice with this one, so if I mess this one up and break it into a million pieces, it ain't going to matter because it was only $6. And I could mess with it. But this thing's filthy. And I just wanted to get some practice with taking it apart. I've seen some modded Swiss Army knives where, they'll run G10 scales in between, like they'll put some spacers in, so then you'll see like black, 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 all between with complete red. I mean, it's just gorgeous is what it is. Where this so-called China knockoff, like I said, it doesn't have the clicking. It doesn't have the same quality of stainless steel. Now, at the same time, see that? See how that's moving there? Up inside here. If I do that to the Swiss Army knife, and I pull that back, it doesn't move at all. It's completely in there. When you have a knife that does that moves back and forth like this, and I'm not even really pushing on it that hard. When you have a knife that moves like that, that's dangerous, is what that is. So be very careful when you buy a Swiss Army knife off eBay or Amazon or anywhere for that matter. You really want to make sure it comes from Victorian, and you want to make sure it's one of their knives. So not only do you have that warranty, but you don't get, things like this going on. And I had a feeling this would happen when I bought it. I really did. So, but I was actually very curious to see what a China knockoff Swiss Army knife would actually end up looking like, and to see that type of play by the blade. I mean, I don't know if you can see in there. See it moving? You might have to enlarge YouTube to see it. So pay very close attention to that emblem. And make sure it's got that clicking that you heard in the first part of the video, so you know you're getting a proper Swiss Army knife. But this seller was honest. He did say it was made in China and it was a knockoff. I mean, he didn't lie about his listing or anything. I knew exactly what I was buying, so not a problem. But I'm going to take this apart in pieces and see what I can do with it. So be very careful when you buy a Swiss Army knife that you're not getting some type of knockoff, and then you end up getting ripped off. Pay attention to your knives very closely. There's a lot of crooks out there. All right, catch you guys later.